So we're talking about the different types of digestion. There are two. What are they? Mechanical means you're chewing with the function of assorted what in your mouth? Teeth. Okay. So not only that, what else might be in your mouth that's going to actually is chemical digestion, the other type, saliva. And does anyone think they might know how many glands you actually have 6 salivary or saliva glands? There's really no reason that you know what they are or the names of them, but maybe you do.
Under your tongue?
Well, that's where they're located, but what they're actually called. You will be responsible for that once we get to that point. The names of your saliva glands. There are 3 sets. I don't know if we'll get to them today or not, but if I'm not mistaken, this is approximately where we left off with, correct? Okay. So now, one of the aspects, we talked about this canal system that goes from the back of your throat, in other words, your esophagus, down through your stomach, into your small intestine, your large intestine, your rectum, and then out your mouth. Okay? So, the digestion is initiated in the mouth. So materials are going to start to be broken down so that once it reaches your storage tank, which is your stomach, digestion again is just initiated there. Okay? The breaking down of materials. Your stomach really does not do much digesting there. Except for, you could say, well, your proteins are, yes, I get that. But when we're referring to digestion, it's more so the continual breakdown for absorption into your system. Okay. So when we look at the different layers, okay, 2 different types of contractions, as you can see. Of course, as you can see, circular, just what it means. You're squeezing in a circle, okay? Now, it's not that it's inefficient. It's still, or else we would not move materials in that way. But to aid that movement, not only is it just circular, it's also longitudinal. Okay? So what we mean by that, okay, here is your circular movements like this, but then longitudinal means like this. You have these 2 types. They're moving to press those materials through your intestines. Okay? And one of your vocab terms is going to refer what peristalsis is. What do you think it might be? Say it again. No, it's more so the movement. Peristalsis is the normal movement of materials through your small intestine. Okay? So what that means is what direction can it go in 2 directions? The answer is yes. But what might reverse peristalsis mean? Rather than your food getting lower and lower into your intestines, going forwards, it may go backwards. Reverse peristalsis, which means through maybe many different triggers,
You want to be outside or next to a trash can or a sink or in a bathroom, so you don't have such a mess to clean up. Okay? There's different words for that, whether you call it throwing up, vomiting, and one of those would work. Okay. So this serosa, okay? When we're talking about whether it's cirrhosis, cirrhosis of the liver, cirrhosis of the intestine, it's a type of inflammation. And some people may have this digestive disorder known as Crohn's disease. And maybe some of you might know who has that. And I personally, I'm not saying you feel bad for them, and you'd be amazed. There's professional athletes who suffer from that. It's not just a whole, geez, I feel bad for that person, they got Crohn's. Yeah, you want to. It's nothing that you would ever make fun of because it is such a not a debilitating disease, but just one that kind of has sort of control on where and what you're doing. Okay? It means your small intestine means you may have to go to the bathroom more than normal, I believe. Crohn's disease is what?
That's what Crohn's is?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so then what is it with celiac? Is that part of the digestive one?
I think it's just I want to say that's just different types of foods that set that up. With Crohn's disease. Right. That's certain types of foods would set that up. I believe, if I understand Crohn's disease, it's anything can set that up. And there's also people may have IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, there again, there's just many different types of categories that is beyond my knowledge to explain that can have an effect on their digestive tract. So, if you're seeing this for the first time, why might this mucus be an advantage to have in your intestines? What do you suppose that does? Like, for instance, if you're coughing maybe and you end up with some sputum or mucus in your hand, what's true about that mucus? Oh, no, it's not what causes it, but a characteristic of that mucus. Not that you would do this, but if you rub it around in your hands, it's that again. Yeah, it's very slippery. Okay, so what that does, it's kind of like a type of means to let this move on a little more efficiently. Okay, there's a type of I want to say like more oil lubrication, but similar to that. It just makes the process easier. Okay? Because what can happen, I have seen this. Some people may give dogs the cowbung ear sweet corn. That's bad. Why is that bad? Just like with chocolate, you don't give dogs chocolate. Why is that? Well, it's not. Could it kill them? It's bad for them, yes.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm thinking it's larger amounts because they can't digest it. Okay? When it comes to the enzyme that breaks chocolate.
Dairy's not good for mother. Also like the hides, terrible for dogs. Like they're absolutely
The
terrible.
raw, what do you mean?
Raw hides, like you can buy like those dog treats, the raw hides. They're very, very bad for dogs.
Okay,
Okay, so when they chew it apart, they get like sharp pieces when they do it, and it completely destroys their interior of their stomach. And their intestines, because it can't decompose.
I wonder if there's anything you can't feed a tuna. Is it just like a dog?
what are the things that you can't do? You got all the Doritos in your mouth.
Yeah. Is there anything you can't feed a raccoon? Just like a dog or what?
Well, I think you're pretty safe with raccoons because they are opportunists. Same thing with dogs. I'm not doubting what you're saying, but even when it comes to wild dogs, they've been eating not raw hides, but bones, things like that for years. Now,
Bones
Can-
are okay.
can it have an effect on them? Yeah, maybe, but
They're not supposed to eat raw hides or like horses get their feature. They'll eat the trimmings of that and it just attacks it.
well, I'm not saying it's a synthetic plastic. It's still the same shape, same size as when we got it, but we just stuff things in the end, freeze them. Give that to them to chew on the next day. There are no little shards or chunks that break off.
What?
Oh, it's a little tongue.
Something
Is
like
that what it
that.
is? The toy's called a tongue.
That's the brand name.
Yeah. And it's got like those loops like this, and then go like this. And it'll hold
Yeah, it's not rubber though. It is a hard plastic.
Oh, you put like peanut butter
Yes,
Yeah,
we've
I've
done
heard
that
it.
before. So he's not necessarily chewing on the bone, he's chewing on the ends where the treat is that you actually have. Oh yeah. Again, two types of movements. We got circular and longitudinal. So just picture like when you see a cement truck rolling down the highway after leaving the plant. Okay? Besides the movement of the truck, what else do we notice about the cement truck? Exactly. Why? So it doesn't dry, but it continually mixes the ingredients, okay? So that once you reach the job site, you can unload that cement. So it's a type of movement, okay, that is going through your intestines. It's propelling it through your intestines.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So it says movements of the tube, and up there it says that, but on here it says under movements of the tube, it says there are two types of movements that are provided by the muscular layer.
Okay.
there. That was on the last slide, you know?
Okay, so sometimes these go, okay, so movements of the tube,
Yeah.
okay? So you got one dash under this
Gotcha.
section.
There's two more.
Then there should be two more movements of the tube, that one, and that.
Okay, well, where the heck did that one go? I don't know why I'm so confused.
Because you just wrote two types, there are two types of movements.
Oh, I wrote the same one.
Right, right. Got some, feel you need it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Next slide.
So, mixing occurs when smooth muscle of your intestines contracts rhythmically. So this mixing, what do you think, what is it mixing with besides water, acids, but most importantly, enzymes. That's right. Because as this is mixing and moving through your intestines, this mixing increases that surface area and allows you to break those materials down so you get the most, what do I want to say? Not most bang for your dollar, the most benefits from your diet. In case you were looking up at the rest of our week, notice we're spending a lot of time on the mouth, okay? But teeth, besides the mechanical digestion, why would teeth be so important? Because we said essentially they are organs. Your teeth are organs because they have what supplied to them? Have an adequate blood supply. So having healthy teeth is important to a healthy digestive tract, but also it keeps things out of your bloodstream as well. Because when we talk about cavities, okay, what does it mean, for instance, what does cavity mean? Not, yeah, hole or open area. So when people have cavities on the surface of their teeth, okay, they're holes that what's starting to take up shop or take up residence in those holes? Bacteria. Flossers. Who is good at flossing their teeth? I mean, good about it. Just one? So, that's probably a good idea to continue to do that. Right?
I mean, I started flossing nowadays because I've had surgery.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what we talked about earlier. Okay? It's a process of movement of food through your intestines. So,
Has this school ever thought about getting an air conditioner?
well, you can, but I believe it would be my understanding the price to do that would be astronomical because it could be such a thing that the original designs when this expansion took place, since it's not in here now, it may not have the, let's say, proper roof support to put an air conditioner in there. And even so, if you don't do that during your construction, you're probably quadrupling your cost. I don't think we could afford it. I honestly don't. Yeah, I know it's hot. I know. Well, it's not that it's hot. I know it's uncomfortable in here, but that's.
How about box ACs? They let you do that.
I don't know. I would eventually think that's right too. Okay, so when we look back at the video we had on Friday, okay, you had this soldier, okay, who there was a turkey meal that he was supplied with early. And it's probably based off of a true story, but for 2 weeks of not eating, he had lost a lot of weight. So when the doctors or surgeons were looking at him, they took an electrolyte test or had done one. Okay, so we think of malnutrition as old news. But when you go back to the 1950s when this took place, there was really no way of describing what's wrong with this person. Well, they're not taking the nutrients in that they should, and when that happens, we call that malnutrition, especially when weight is coming off. They're not taking in the proper nutrients that they need. And what are those nutrients? Well, they drive the chemical reactions inside your body for specific metabolisms, whether it's for proteins, whether it's for fats, whether it's for sugars. All those different nutrients you take in supplies the fuel that you need for all of those biochemical reactions. Okay, I want to do this one, and that will be it for today. Okay, so we refer to the mouth. Okay, it's where our first digestion takes place, not only just mechanically by chewing, but also chemically with saliva. Okay, that saliva is a very general term. There's actual enzyme name that belongs with saliva because it's a component. Saliva or spit is a very vague term because in saliva, of course, there's water. There's also mucus. Then the third composition of saliva is the enzyme amylase, which, with your Doritos, you are secreting large amounts of amylase. Because what might your guess be, so since it's a chip, okay, what might that amylase begin breaking down chemically? Not mechanically, you're chewing that, that's mechanical. The amylase is chemical, breaking down what components? Starch, exactly, very large compounds. It's breaking those starches down into individual glucose molecules that you can absorb. So why break starch down? Why not just let that continue through your digestive tract? Well, true, but why can't we just have starch in our large intestine and into our blood supply? It's too big. So because it's too big, it can't what? Yeah, it can't enter the cell. It's way too big to enter there. So what happens is this starts to break this really long chain of sugar molecules. That's really what starch is. It breaks those molecules down so that they can be utilized.
Okay. So wait, so starch isn't broken down in the actual digestive tract.
It's initiated in the mouth and continues in your stomach, but mainly in your small intestine and absorbed in your lower small intestine.
So like for example, if you just didn't chew something very much, you'd still be getting the full.
You're still getting that, but it's just not as efficient. Yep. Okay, we will continue with this, discussing the mouth and its structures tomorrow.